facing the wrong way. There you go. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. I'm your host, Caleb.
I'm Seth. I talk Star Wars with this man.
Hold on. Let me fix something.
Hello?
Yeah, it was just getting some echo because I had monitoring on.
That would explain it.
There we go. Wrong
Sorry,
way again.
I'm fiddling with it.
The volume should face you. There you
I'm
go.
not sure how I feel about this new method.
So, yeah, he has his own mic now.
I have my own mic now.
Let me...
I can make it blend into my beard.
I'm trying to make sure you... I didn't get to test it with you holding. I tested with
That's
me.
very true. I'm
Yeah.
holding the mic now.
So, like, I'm
Do you
playing...
have any thoughts about that?
No, I'm just having to play with your audio levels.
Cool.
Make sure that they hear you and not the random noises.
Yep. Gotta be careful about that.
So, this week we're talking about the Yoda comic miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
10 issues. But also, let's go ahead and start with what we've been up to this week. We'll get into Star Wars news after that, and then we'll get to Yoda.
All right. Just playing some Remnant from the Ashes. Decided to play through it again. I got done with the first playthrough.
Including the DLC.
Yeah, I still can't get the swamp one to work. And I'm not sure why. So I'm dealing with that.
I gotcha. I've been running my D&D game. Because we do Acquisitions Incorporated for the channel. We did our game for this month, and that was fun. They started the thirst for a character that they haven't met yet, because I accidentally made it to where we use Tabletop Simulator to represent the board and all that.
Yeah.
That way, y'all have something pretty to look at while we're playing the game. And so you can put miniatures in there. And one of the... I've started to get fancy with our battle maps. Because you can just... Like, you can lock things into place in Tabletop Simulator. And I realized that if you place a board map over a board map, it's still elevated somewhat, and it's going to elevate over the level of whatever's the highest thing beneath it.
Okay.
So, you know how, like, in real complicated battle maps, back from, like, 4th edition and backwards, you could buy, like, stacked battle maps. There's people that, like, built it where you just have battle map, right? That's what I've essentially done.
Okay.
What I didn't learn was I learned during that last session how to hide miniatures. So you'll still see them on the map, you just won't know what they are. So in Tabletop Simulator, what you can do is there's an option to hidden when flipped.
Ooh.
So you know how in our Tales of the Jedi game, we did the he's dead flip thing as a goober thing, and that was one of our TikToks that did really well. So it turns out that there's a setting for if you select it, when you flip somebody, they just disappear and it's just a question mark. So that way the players don't know what it is.
Yeah, okay.
They know that something's there, they don't know what it is though. And so I learned that while playing, because the other thing I forgot to do was to lock the miniatures. So I locked the boards in place, but I didn't lock the miniatures that were on them. So the fight that they don't get to in that episode, they accidentally saw the boss of, who is also somebody that they know about, but they haven't met yet. For those of y'all that have been watching, it's Fodell. And Britt started getting real thirsty over her. So, to be fair,
tale as old as time.
Yeah. Tell as old as time. Your D&D players thirsting over your villains. It's not
Control the horny. God damn it.
To be fair, it's not a D&D game without at least one of those moments. You're gonna have at least one of those, especially when the art, like, I can pull up Fodell's art.
I know what this man looks like. If it is,
no, not the man. No, this is the Zent that they've been.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I haven't shown you.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Oh, here. There you go. I just turned down your mic so they don't hear you banging it. Because you can manually adjust your levels as well. Where is that image? Here we go, acquisitions and core. So you'll want to turn it up a smidge. Just a smidge. Yeah.
All right.
NPCs. And I'll make sure to make it to where they can see as well. Window. Photos. Uh-oh, why is she not showing? Doesn't want to show.
Well.
Hold on, I can fix it. We got time, so I can fix it real quick. We only just started the show. Yeah, this is photo.
There we go.
So that is the current villain that they are chasing. They know about her, so it's not. I'm not ruining anything by saying that she exists. They also have seen. Well, one of the players has seen her, but not Brit's character. It's actually Karina's character. That's all, because I introduced her as after, because she's the fourth member that joined afterwards. She has seen, Marlo has seen, that's the name of the character, has seen photo. But yeah, so like they were like, yep, and then I've like talked to some of my other D&D friends within the community, and they were like, yep, I can see why, I would too. And it's like, okay, I just know how to make my villains.
I'm like, this. My instinct is this lady's gonna be a problem.
Well, she's part of the Zentarum.
So that's already a problem.
Yeah, I mean, the Zentarum are not automatically evil. They just do lawful evil shit. Because they're a mercenary group. You know. In this case, they are doing, well, Fodel is at least doing some evil shit. But we don't know the details of that yet in the game. So we just know that she currently has the diamond staff, which is what the party needed. Yeah. So, and of course she's trying to use it. So, and we're at that part where, like in any treasure hunt film, where they're like,
the bad guy has the fucking thing.
The bad guy has the fucking thing, and we're at we're in the final place where we have to stop them from
Yep.
Yeah.
As is the usual.
You know, so we're in the final part of the chase where we're trying to stop them from using it. But that usually, in most treasure hunt...
Yeah, it don't work out so
usually
good.
in most treasure hunt stories, the villain gets to use it and then something happens, usually. But can't guarantee that's the case here. Because they didn't get to that part yet. They made it to the room just before the last room. But then we had to stop because Britt started working night shift.
Oh, no.
And so, because of that, and we record during the afternoon. We usually, well, morning for her, afternoon for us, because she's in Cali. So that's, usually we start, well, actually, no, we start noon her time, and then 2 o'clock our time, because it's, I think, 2 time zones over for us, if I remember correctly. So, yeah. So, but because of that, and we usually go about 4 hours, so 12 to 4 for her, 2 to 6 for us.
Yeah.
Except for the episode before that, we went longer because we were like, we got a new player, and also we haven't played in a minute. We're excited.
So let's go.
Yeah, let's just go. And so we played 6 hours on that one. Not the longest I played.
Yeah.
I think for Edge of the Empire we did an 8-hour game.
Oh God.
And that was, with like the 12 play, like that was.
Yeah, that's.
I think I remember the reason we did that was because we were like, oh, since we have so many players, we can have people coming in and out as we need to.
Yeah.
And so. I forget whose idea it was, but somebody was like, I think JP.
Of course. course it was.
JP was like, "Yeah, we should start in the morning," and just because I think it was like during a holiday break, and so they were like, "Let's just start in the morning." And this is my JP voice. Like, if y'all know JP, like out of my friends, if y'all know JP, y'all know I can.
Oh God.
Let's start in the morning and let's go from and yeah. And so we started at like I think 10 in the morning, and then we just went until we didn't want to play anymore. But like
after 8 hours, I'd fucking imagine no one would want to do anything.
so yeah. So we basically did an all day session.
Yeah.
Which I think with the right friends and the right day,
purpose,
I think with the right friends and the right
you
day,
gotta
that
be
can
careful
work.
about
Yeah,
them.
I don't make them the majority of your of your tabletop sessions. Those should be an event. Those should be an event.
Yeah,
thing.
your D&D game should not feel like a work shift.
Probably not.
I remember like we had one for Chianti's like previous campaign, right? The one that just went on forever.
Oh, y'all had an all day one.
We had one that we were started at like 10 and ended at like 6, and there was a good like hour portion of it just dedicated to upgrading a ship and like deciding what money was being invested into what for the ship.
See, in that case, that part that stuff feels like the ship stuff sounds like that's almost like the meme of it should have been a work email.
Yeah, and my brain was like, I hate this.
So that one does feel like it should have been an email, or in the case of D&D games nowadays, a Discord message.
However, that because Jameson and Chiari had so extensively planned and like put money into everything in the ship, deciding what was needed.
Y'all had to do a test run on it?
We basically had like one of, if not the most secure vaults in the world.
Oh, okay.
So whenever we had like a problem where we were like, well, we can't get rid of it, we can't banish it, and we also can't kill it. You know where it's going? In the ship vault.
Yeah.
Where we don't have to worry about it. And we also have like a panic room in there for like
that's almost
we had adopted orphans.
That's basically the Starforge 2 in our Knights of the
Republic
Republic game.
We basically, for the most part, like we lived on that ship because we used.
So the Starforge 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been writing notes as well for acquisitions. I have a whole timeline written out, and recently I just told you about this today. I finished making a in-universe calendar for them. I made a pets and animals one.
Yeah.
It's not entirely a cute one, like usually it's the cute baby animals one. I did
baby animals here.
There's some cute ones because, like, obviously we've got our miniature giant space hamsters in there. A little hint of one of the creatures in there. But there's also the more deadly animals, and so I tried to find cute pictures of even the deadly animals though, and I basically just stuck with the creatures that are a CR 1/4 and below. Which for non D&D people, CR is challenge rating. Yeah, sorry, I also almost said class rating because in the Saga edition for Star Wars it's CL, which is class level, and it's just like. But basically, a CR challenge rating is basically how difficult is this enemy for like a party of 4. Generally, is the math that they use for that.
Yep.
And basically they go, this is what level a party of 4 should be to face this thing.
Yeah.
So 1/4 and below means you would need 4 of them to go up against a 4-party level 1.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and that's usually the challenge rating for like pets, like almost because also well, I'll save that. I don't want to ruin. We talked about it off air. We talked about some stuff that Mouser got off air.
Go listen.
Yeah.
To
go
the acquisitions game when it comes out.
Or sign up for the Patreon and you can listen to it now.
Or you could do that. That's also a viable option.
Because it's already up there on the Patreon.
I'm mildly annoyed that I have to hold this now, but I'm also
Like now you don't have to lean in, and we don't have
Yeah.
to fight over the same mic. You get your own.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Hmm.
You do have to manage your own levels, though. That's up to you.
Yeah.
That one's yours. Sometimes
Okay,
when I'm
so
talking,
I'm on
you'll
mic 2.
yeah, you're mic 2.
So it goes up whenever we talk at the same time.
yeah, it'll do that. Mine will also go up if you're talking and I'm not talking, or other way around, like right now.
Yeah.
But as long as it's not like red,
Yeah.
we're
I
good.
I just wanted to see how far the bar would go. It only got into the
Well,
yellow.
I also I think you're only like a quarter strength. Yeah, you're not even a quarter strength on there. You could probably.
Hello.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say anything. Just gonna kind of whisper a little bit.
God, that's horrible. I don't even have to hear it like through a headset.
It's
I just
the
know it's
worst.
horrible. That is the worst. I'm sorry to any of our headphone listeners.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that again.
That's like creepy ASMR. Which I did freak out
Oh,
my
man.
players with one moment because they fought some spider-like creatures, and so
Skitter.
yeah. So instead of like doing that though, I apologize now. Yeah.
Oh, there was a game that John recommended to me, Evil West, and I forget.
Oh yeah, I've heard about Evil West before.
Okay.
I
Do
forget
you know
the
about
specifics,
the
but
arachnophobia thing.
oh,
So, for those of you who don't know,
this is our D&D portion of the podcast, by the way.
that we've now kind of switched over back to video games. This is the ramble section.
Yeah.
So, Evil West pulls a real dick move on you. So what it'll do, it has an arachnophobia mode, in case you're scared of spiders. So you can go and turn that on. And that'll get rid of all the spiders. So you don't have to look at them in your creepy vampire game where you're already fighting horrific monstrosities. But for some reason, regular spiders will bother you.
To be fair to those people, and I don't have arachnophobia, but I get it. Like vampires are a fictional thing.
Yeah.
Whereas
spiders are real.
Spiders are real and a thing that people like.
Yeah.
And I think it's the idea of the 8 legs just like crawling all over. Like it's that type of stuff.
Yeah, I could see that. Sometimes I forget that people are people and get scared of things that are like, what do you mean you're freaking out? Just slap them.
I used to. Yes, just slap your spiders.
Pow! Get all of them.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. But back on to Evil West being a jerk.
Yeah.
So, when you turn off arachnophobia mode, all the spiders gone. If for some reason you think that you have made progress in your fear against spiders
And you decide to
and
turn
you
it back
turn
on.
it back on, it doubles the amount of spiders. Because you clearly got over your fear.
So,
Why else would you turn off arachnophobia mode?
So time for exposure therapy.
Yeah. Which is actually how... So you know how the cinematic for Baldur's Gate 3 like kind of freaked me out a little bit?
Oh, with the with the
Yeah.
eye stuff, yeah.
So I just sat there for like an hour one day rewatching that until it stopped.
Oh my god. That's like if I decide, like, I would say for me the eye thing, because okay, so for
Like for that specific thing, like
yeah,
I still freak the fuck out about like eye drops and stuff because that's one of the few
I'd
things.
say the closest that I've worried about that in a video game is I didn't feel that with Baldur's Gate 3. I did feel that with Dead Space.
You fucking better have. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. But yeah, Dead Space I think has more of the more horrific
Oh,
eye
yeah.
one than because in that case
Better not fuck it up.
Because in that case, you have more control of the situation,
Yeah.
which makes it more terrifying because you're the reason if anything goes wrong. Whereas in Baldur's Gate 3, it's just a cinematic. There's not much you can do
not
about
much
it.
you can-
I mean, you could hit escape and skip the cinematic,
Yeah.
but then you miss some story stuff. Which,
Problem is still there.
Yeah. You still have an illithid tadpole in your head.
Yep.
So, I mean,
God.
a brain worm, a bug. Oh, what I was getting to, though.
Yeah.
So I've been writing ahead on the campaign as well. I'm already writing like their next adventure, which makes sense now.
Yeah.
Like it didn't make sense when I started writing it, but it makes sense now because we're like
They're kind of wrapping
we're
up.
one session left really till they finish the current adventure, and but I'm already like writing so much of the next adventure.
Yeah.
I've written the downtime. I've written the next some of the next adventure. But one of the things I do is a timeline,
Mm-hmm.
and so what I like to do, and I did it with the Star Wars game as well,
Yeah.
is I take
The timeline.
I take the canon. I can't help it. Okay, it's just what I do. So I took the canon media in for the Star
Yeah.
Wars game, and I kind of placed it alongside our like the Edge of the Empire
Mhm.
campaign. So in that case, it was like, oh, this adventure takes place before these issues of the Star Wars comic and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that way, if for some reason the players decided to go off and do whatever, I know where in the story, on the grander scale, they are, and therefore I can like as the DM, storyteller, GM, whatever you want to call it, could decide. Well, that's good.
Oh yeah.
But
Or you could just sit and look at the thing that traumatizes you for a couple hours,
God,
which is not a hell.
no that.
well,
I mean, if done correctly, that's the healthiest.
which is not something that I probably. There were better ways I could have done that.
Yeah. Exposure therapy also usually generally requires like a therapy session
Yeah.
and therapist, and not just I'm gonna do this.
Fuck it.
But what I was getting to. So for D&D, I did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So for the Acquisitions Incorporated campaign, we take place in the Forgotten Realms, which is a official setting in D&D. Thank you, Ed Greenwood, one of the main the main creator of the Forgotten Realms.
Sorry, I hope you all didn't hear that. I'm not used to
Having your own mic.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
But so I took some of the novels and I was like, oh, what books all take place in the year that we're currently playing in, which we're about to wrap that up anyways. We're about to head a year and some change into the future. Time jump. Not a time travel thing, but more of a time has just elapsed.
Time has traveled.
Time has traveled. They have not.
Yeah.
And so I started reading some of the books that I haven't read before. Because I was like, this is also an experience for me to read some of these books. So that way I can have better knowledge of what's going on in the Forgotten Realms. I have some knowledge. I'm more of a Baldur's Gate era knowledge. And this is 100 years later for
presumably 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, presumably 1, 2, and 3. I also have like some Icewind Dale and Neverwinter knowledge as well. Because I have those as well, and I know some of that stuff. But Baldur's Gate is more where I'm more heavily knowledged, and I have some Dritz knowledge, but not a lot. And so I wrote down a list of these books, and then one of them, well, two of them were Elminster books.
Yep.
And here's where my completionist brain creates a problem.
You didn't have to do this. You know that, right?
I know. But it's my process.
Mm.
And I think it works. It pays off in the end.
Yeah.
And it's not like this is work. I like reading these books, so it's not like, you know. And so...
Unlike me, I'm like, don't know, don't care, doesn't matter. Whatever happens will happen.
And so, like, I found those two Elminster books in that year, and then I was like, well, these are later in the Elminster series. I'm going to read all the Elminster books up till those books as well. Which, anytime that a series pops up, I'm doing the same thing, so it's not just Elminster. But Elminster also happens to be the first that I have to read, because it is now the furthest back in the timeline, because Elminster is a very fucking old man.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Grandpa Elminster.
Yeah, Grandpa Elminster. We were joking on the way here, because Elminster... Spoilers for Baldur's Gate 3. Which we have to bring that back up again, because guess what? It's on Xbox now.
Yep.
So, spoiler warning for Baldur's Gate 3. Elminster shows up.
Gale.
To get mad at Gale.
The fuck, man?
Yeah, so we were making jokes on the way, because you knew about that moment already, so we were just making jokes about that on the way here.
What did you think would happen?
We also made some Baldur's Gate 1 references too, because Elminster also shows up for that. Spoiler warning for a over 20-year-old game.
I've been alive for 100 years, said Elminster.
Elminster's been alive for 1,000.
Been alive for a lot longer than 100 years. A lot of fuckeries happened.
Oh no, you're fine, Zero.
Don't worry about it, man.
But we appreciate the interaction.
Yeah, it's great. Because we don't always get it, and this is nice.
Yeah. That's the point of us doing the podcast live, is because then we can... but yeah, so that's what I've been doing. I've been listening. You heard me listening to some of the first book in the car. Because I
Things
do...
are not going great for him right now.
Yeah, because Elminster did that whole... I want to get interested in magic. I'm also a lord, because he comes from royalty.
Ah.
He was a little princeling, and then, had a dick of a brother. As a lot of royalty people do in D&D.
Go kill my brother.
Or in fantasy in general.
Yeah, that's just a fantasy thing.
That's a fantasy trope of, like, family members of the royal family being...
Kill him!
Yeah. Being the worst.
Don't worry. Belwyn would know how that feels.
Yeah, because Belwyn was that.
Belwyn fucking got them all.
Belwyn was that worst family member.
Yeah.
He didn't know that context. Character I played for an evil campaign that he ran. I had a Dampier who basically reenacted Hamlet, Hamlet.
Pretty close.
Hamlet, but if Hamlet actually did things about his problems and not wrote a play.
Yeah.
Because Hamlet was like, I'm just going to try to make my uncle feel guilty.
All because...
and
it's the slight difference is...
Belwyn's uncle never actually did anything.
No, he didn't.
And two, Belwyn was like, I'm going to raise an army. He did the thing that, what's the character in Hamlet? The one that goes off to raise the army.
What, Rosencrantz?
No. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern stay with Hamlet. They're just in the background. But there's that one character that goes off and leaves to go get an army in Scotland or whatever.
It's not Laertes. Laertes comes
Yeah. Anyways,
back.
there's a character that leaves to go get an army.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I'm going to go get an army because Hamlet, what you're doing is dumb.
This is stupid, said that character. Comes back from Scotland. Why is everyone dead?
Because Hamlet's whole plan was, I will make my uncle feel guilty and make him confess.
Yeah.
Which is, no, he doesn't feel guilty about it, so that's not going to work.
Yep.
Belwyn's plan is to do the Scotland thing. So in the evil campaign, Belwyn's like trying to raise an army by making alliances with other fort countries, but also through like underhanded methods.
Yeah.
Because evil campaign.
So two things. First of which, the entire thing...
Oh, yeah, we changed the ghost thing, too.
Yeah, we changed it up to the ghost thing. Do you remember what it was?
It's a zombie. Who pretended to be Belwyn's father.
Pretended to be Belwyn's dad. Do you remember why?
To get back at the family, because fuck the royals.
Yes, and also because Belwyn's cousin thought it would be funny.
Oh, yeah.
To, like, fuck with him after his dad died.
That's right. So, and of course that created some interesting dynamics as well, because now the cousin sister, which is very Alabama.
Yeah, because I forgot
in hindsight.
I forgot what, like, the word for, like, step. It's a mess.
Yeah.
It was just a mess, and Andrew and you fucking cleaned house on that.
Yeah, eventually Belwyn does succeed in his plan.
Yeah.
But at a cost to his sanity.
To a cost to everything.
Yeah, because he kills his entire family.
Now...
With the help of Mercy.
Yeah, Mercy disintegrated.
It doesn't help that you gave Belwyn, my character, the exact weapon he needed to kill his family. Yeah. Like, the session before that. Because you were like, here, have a Mace of Disruption. For D&D people, non-D&D people, a Mace of Disruption is a mace that is a magical weapon as well, which has like +1 generally, which means it can do extra damage. But it also has the ability to make, after a certain amount of damage has been done to your enemies, if they are undead, they will just...
They just die.
Yeah, they just poof into dust. Generally, it's still a percentage roll, though. You still have to roll to see if it happens. I'd say 90% of the time it does, though.
Yeah.
And so Yeah, you gave me that weapon just before I fought my family of vampires.
Yeah. Andrew also had a bunch of magic weapons, but he just never used them.
Which also, thankfully, I had my turn on dead ability also since I was he was a cleric.
Yeah.
Which was great for getting into his homeland because you created, instead of a natural wall or a man-built wall, it was a wall of zombies.
Nope, just a wall of undead.
Yeah, wall of undead. So in order to get past that, I just said, yeah, we're not fighting all that. Turn undead.
Yeah, and I was like,
you forgot
good
I had.
enough.
Yeah, you're like, oh yeah, he has that.
All right, yeah. Plus, Mercy's a necromancer. What are they gonna do to him?
Yeah,
nothing.
Yeah, I think the only one at danger really was
Eli's Anchor.
Anchor, yeah.
Who it wouldn't have mattered. Anchor probably.
Also, Mercy's dad.
And Mercy's dad.
Because at that time we had Mercy's
ghosts.
dad, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I just did turn undead, which also, much like the Mace of Disruption, after a certain level for your character, can just poof undead, and so that's what I did.
Oh God. So one of the things that I kind of like was hoping would happen, but was also not looking forward to. I was surprised that you guys did not decide, let's go kick Flamin' Kong's ass.
Oh yeah, we decided to keep that treaty because we decided that's not a great idea to mess with, which I guess creates future world building things because we've talked about a sequel to like the events of this, but still before the events of your first campaign, which I was not a part of until the end. I played a one-shot character essentially. Since
Flamin' Kong had like given Mercy like a wand of magic missiles and the hammer that Anchor the dwarven thrower, which is basically just a big fuck off hammer that returns to you when you throw it.
It's basically Mjolnir.
Yeah, and
but bigger.
Your Mace of Disruption. There's no need for me to not spoil this anymore. If you guys had chosen to fight him, you would have been like, all right.
Oh, he was going to use those against us.
Guess what?
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah.
Fight an ancient red dragon without your magic gear. I was like, well, he gave it to them.
Yeah.
Obviously, he has a plan for if they try to use it on him.
Yeah. Instead, Belwyn, because
Belwyn's like, I was like, you guys.
Yeah, you had us. Well, at the end. So I was gonna say at the end of the campaign, before the final session, you were like, hey, everybody, write write a page for what your character does after the campaign. Belwyn's is sad. But I think it fits the theme of what Belwyn is.
Yeah.
Because I was like, yeah, Belwyn is still Hamlet. Like, it's still a tragedy. So, yeah, Belwyn goes full, like, King. What was the other Shakespeare play that King Lear? He went full King Lear.
Full King Lear. Meanwhile, Mercy is just happy.
Yeah.
Mercy's like, done. World conquered. Now I can go home.
Yeah. The way I thought, because I was like, let's keep the Shakespeare theme for Belwyn. So I was like, well, what's fitting for what happened? Oh, King Lear. So Belwyn eventually does have a family, but things go King Lear in that there's some betrayals and people start killing each other, and basically all Belwyn's...
your son in an oil field.
Yeah, basically all of Belwyn's children die, and Belwyn had to kill the last of them to like stop them from continuing the madness.
Yeah.
And then Belwyn basically goes Dracula from Castlevania.
He's out there somewhere.
Belwyn's gone Dracula from Castlevania. He now lives in depression by himself.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Anchor said, fuck it, I'm out, and is just looking for bigger monsters to fight.
Yeah. So... That was a fun campaign.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what you do.
Solstice is fucking gone.
I'm excited to see what you do with the future of that. I would like to see the results of that, especially since I know we've talked about Belwyn appearing as an NPC in the future.
Yeah.
Since we've discussed that Belwyn has extended his life now a bit because he's given into the thirst.
Vampirism.
Yeah, because he started to give into the thirst. While he's a Dhampir, meaning he's only half vampire, he... for the most part, didn't really do too much of the vampire stuff during the campaign. But after that whole family tragedy, that's kind of been his...
like, fuck it.
Yeah. But it's not a going out and killing people frenzy. It's more of a, I need to eat to survive. And it's more of a, I will eat people if I need to at the last minute. It's a, starve myself and then feed myself like once every
couple
years.
Yeah, because like you're a vampire. You can get away with like a lot.
If you could go on a murder spree, though, people notice.
Yeah, like if it's one person, say every like 6, maybe 7 years, that's not gonna be too bad in a fantasy setting, unless they're like really important.
Yeah.
But like no one's gonna care if you get
If
rid
you
of
took the
like
farmer.
James the farmer
Yeah.
from like 3 doors down at like the shitty village.
Especially when there's probably other creatures that could have
Because
done
let's
it.
be real, there's a lot of shit in
fantasy that
in
can kill
fantasy
you.
that just kills you.
I mean, you got your goblins, your orcs, your kobolds, your
Yeah.
plenty of options. So, vampire is probably the least likely,
Yeah. Unless you go to Nightlands, in which case it's the most likely.
but also not anymore. 'Cause,
Not anymore.
it's still likely because Belwyn's there, but it's least likely because it's not as likely.
Belwyn is the less
Belwyn
likely
is
to kill you.
Belwyn is the vampire of Nightlands.
Yeah.
He's the vampire of Nightlands because there is no other people in his family tree.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's our D&D talk.
Yep.
I guess we should get into Star Wars news because
Mhm.
now we're 40 minutes in.
Yeah, that would probably be a good time.
So first off, we got some more concept art
I'll
for the
kill
High
it.
Republic. We got the Nameless, which now has a robotic arm.
Baron Bulin scienced it.
Yeah, Baron Bulan. We also have
There he is.
Keek. Or Reek. I can't read that.
I think it's
Reek. It's Reek.
Reek.
Yeah, R-E-E-K. There it is. Star Wars Newsnet put it in there for me.
Yeah.
I just couldn't read that tiny, tiny text. And then, of course, we got Niv, who we've talked about before. We've seen Niv. But Reek and the Nameless one are new art.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and do our thing of that we usually do, which is share it.
They've rebuilt the Nameless.
We made it faster, stronger.
Smarter. Okay, well, not smarter, but more hungry.
Nom nom nom.
I need more Jedi.
Yeah.
I
Here's
need
the Nameless now.
Yeah. I need pictures of Spider Nameless. That's...
Britt was mad at me. That reminded me.
Oh,
Britt
yeah?
was so mad when we fought the spider creatures, and she was like, "Is that the thing you were jokingly telling me you were going to add to the campaign?" It was not.
Nope.
Because there are multiple spider creatures in D&D.
Mm-hmm. You got your Driders and your face.
Which the Driders are the
spiders.
ones. Driders the one I joked about adding to the campaign, but because they show up in Baldur's Gate 3. But on our left we have Reek. So that's our new one.
I'm not. Never mind. I'll get into that later.
Anyways, on top
So
of
what else
that,
we got?
we've got some new Lego announcements. So we got some new Clone Wars stuff coming out. We got a new battle thing that looks like a new battle pack, which looks like the Battle of Christophsis because it's got like some of that stuff that I like. It's got the spider droids that you saw
Yeah.
at the beginning of the Clone Wars movie. But we're also getting some they mentioned some Young Jedi Adventure sets.
Okay.
Which we
Mr. Kai Brightstar.
Yeah, which we did get pictures of as well.
Boom.
Sorry, I'm not showing the pictures of the Legos, but I'll describe what we. So currently, the set that they announced is the ship, along with the pilot and Nib. We gotta have Nib.
He's back.
We love Nib.
It's like a teddy bear.
We
but
love him.
blue.
We love him here. Which, eventually, we're gonna watch the rest
Koala.
of the. Eventually, we're gonna watch the rest of the episodes that came out, but because more episodes have come out since we did our last review of it.
Hey, so
And
people who were joking about Order 66 being bad.
something worse is
What you know about the fall of Starlight Beacon?
yeah.
Nothing. You sweet summer's child.
Yeah,
You thought
because it's officially been confirmed that this is Phase 1, Phase 2 era or Phase 1, Phase 3 for them, for Young Jedi Adventures. And it's even more confirmed that it's before the fall of Starlight Beacon because there's now episode with Loden Greatstorm, and
Who is dead?
who was dead by the end of Phase 1.
Yeah.
In the middle of Phase 1, because the second book.
He gets dusted.
Get dusted.
He gets husked.
He's captured in the first book.
Mm-hmm. Man, he is so close to living, and
But yeah, it's got Loden and his
Bell.
and of course Ember.
Yeah.
So there's an episode with the three of them. So that confirms when in the timeline it is now, which was something we talked about last time. Was
Yeah.
that there was no? It was very
clear, like, when does this happen?
Yeah, it was very vague. Keeping with TV shows.
Dum.
So Disney Plus has confirmed which 2 Star Wars shows will be for 2024. Like what's currently on the stuff that we should expect absolutely 100% coming out. So we got Skeleton Crew and the Acolyte. Those are the 2 that are coming out for sure.
Okay.
Other stuff that were supposed to be on the schedule, but of course have now been put back on the back burner, and most of that is because of the strike.
Yeah,
and
and how things are working.
And so rewrites and how film and television work. It's just things are now on a slower pace, which I think is better.
Yeah.
Because people were complaining about the speed at which things were coming out, and
could we have some time to absorb the last
more so
one?
with Marvel than Star Wars. Star Wars
Yeah.
generally hadn't hit that problem of speed
like,
yet,
bam, 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 bam.
but Marvel had for sure.
Yeah.
And this is coming from someone who has liked everything that has come out, even if I have my complaints about.
Me and you, I've got my opinions about Marvel, which is mostly I don't care.
Yeah, and I mostly like it. I have
Like,
minor
I know
stuff here
other
and there.
people like Ethan and Chris and Steve, they love Marvel.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm like, I don't know, man. I kind of checked out after Winter Soldier.
And that's a fair opinion, because all opinions are valid as long as you tell them as long as they're constructive.
There are good movies after Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I just
not for you.
kind of got burned out.
Yeah, and there's nothing
way
wrong.
back then.
There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, so the ones that were also on the slate originally before everything.
Yeah.
We had the final season of Andor, because we were supposed to get season 2, which would be the last season. And then we were supposed to get the third and supposedly final season of Bad Batch, as well as a second season of Tales of the Jedi. So those 3 are now on the back burner. As far as Marvel,
I'm okay with waiting a bit longer.
Yeah, I can wait for all 3 of those. Although I do feel bad for the Andor fans, because
Yeah.
that one does seem like one that could be ready to come out already, but I don't know.
Just wait a little bit.
Yeah. I feel like the timing would be great, because an election year with Andor
Oh man.
and how political that show is.
Yeah.
It would have been great timing for that show, actually.
Like, you switch over from like the election kind of stuff, and it's like, so anyhow, we're gonna rig the Senate, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
No, I came here to get out of it. Now I'm in it again.
But as far as Marvel's concerned, actually, funny enough, because Star Wars Newsnet also reported on this, X-Men 97 is still happening this year.
Okay.
Or next year. As well as a few other...
I was about to make a dumb joke about how it's already happened.
No, X-Men 97 still hasn't happened.
What do you mean?
We've never had X-Men that takes place in 90... Like, because it's a continuation of the animated series.
Yeah, I know.
It stopped
Came out
in 96.
Oh.
That's why they're calling it 97.
Just making a dumb joke.
That's why they're calling it 97.
No.
Um,
But I really do want to see, like, I like the premise for the Acolyte.
Yeah, the Acolyte.
If I remember,
well, so the Acolyte is my, like, there were a lot of people that are like, Andor is the one that I'm like really excited for, and like we also know people that were really like pumped about Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And Acolyte is mine. Acolyte is the one that I'm like,
I want to see what happens in Acolyte.
Well, it's also for me, it's because it's the first High Republic show.
Yeah.
Now, it's not going to be connected to this era of High Republic that we're getting. It's much closer to the Phantom Menace than it is to that. But I'm still excited, and I'm curious if we're going to get the Battlefront 2 situation of where they advertise it as this thing being about the villain, and then there's a turn moment, or if we're actually going to make this about the villain. Because it's been a while since Star Wars has done a let's actually focus on the villain. and make them the main character, which I get. That's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
But Darth Bane trilogy proves it's possible.
Because if I'm remembering correctly, fundamental premise for the Acolyte is why you go dark side.
Well, also, because we're gonna see like the Sith and how they're operating during this era when they're still hiding,
Yeah.
and then also like there's a murder investigation. I think I remember was part of the premise was that there's a Jedi who died, and so there's like a murder investigation premise. And then, of course, I guess it is connected to the other High Republic stuff in as far as we're getting, one of our characters from that, which I'm excited.
I'm not going to spoil that.
I'm excited to see her. I'm excited. I am excited to see how she feels after having gifted burnout for so long.
Just take a nap, man.
Just take a nap. You've earned it. You're over 100 years old. You've earned it.
Just go to bed.
You dealt with phase 1 and phase 3. You've earned it.
Yeah.
Which also, I guess, spoils that she has to live in phase 3.
We will see.
Well, she has to because
We will see.
no,
No, we will see.
timeline says she has to.
No, we will see.
And then Skeleton Crew is interesting. That one's been kind of advertised. We don't know too much about it. We know that it's about some young Force users that are semi-connected to Luke's academy during the Mando era, not the Ben era.
No, I was about to like start whispering into the mic again, and I had to stop myself.
And so, I thought you were laughing at the idea of
No,
Order 66 2.0 with Ben.
we didn't get you the first time, so we're gonna get you now.
Which, to be fair, Ben didn't do it. We've talked
Yeah.
about that, but
Like I remember discussing the comic with you. I'm like, whoa! You guys need to like rein it in.
But yeah, so they but it's basically that, and it's been described as Goonies, but Star Wars.
Okay.
So that could be fun.
Yeah.
And it's got Jude Law in it, who's fun. He's one of my favorite. He's one of my favorite interpretations of Watson, because he's in the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock films.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There we go.
So I like his Watson, and I like Jude Law ever since. He's really fun. So, and I liked him in the first Captain Marvel, as the bad guy.
Okay.
He was the bad guy.
Yeah, I mean Robert Downey Jr. and Sherlock, but
Yeah,
Captain
I had
Marvel.
I had you with the first half, lost you in the second.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are the two shows we can expect right now. I know,
Yeah.
and for the Andor fans, I do pour one out metaphorically,
I'm not.
but keeping with some of the more weird and bizarre sides of Star Wars, though, the documentary about the Star Wars Holiday Special came out finally.
Okay.
So this has been a long process in the making, and basically, some documentarian, some like indie group decided to do a documentary about the Star Wars Holiday Special.
We
and,
pulled up the files.
and yeah, basically to find out everything that went on with how this film was made and why it's turned out the way it did, and how things got where it did. Like, because the Star Wars Holiday Special, while technically not 100% lost media, might as well be, because it only aired once on TV and then has never aired again. And the only reason that we have it still,
quite a sense of infamy with it as well.
yeah, and the only reason that it still exists is because people recorded it on their like at home with their VCRs and all that. And that's
As you do.
as you did back then, because back then you recorded your favorite, like you knew some movie was coming on TV and you're like, oh, I don't have that movie, I'm gonna record it on my VCR.
Yep. What are you gonna do? Complain about it?
Sue me. Technically they could, but they don't.
Yeah.
They don't care. I mean, it's the
Like,
same. In fact, nowadays TVs are built with DVR, so these now they give you they literally go, hey, you want to record something? Go ahead. You can watch it anytime and within so long, and then when you lose it, if you record too many things, we'll start deleting things because you can only have so much space on the DVR clouds.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's the only reason we have it to this day. And of course, part of the jokes is that, also on top of that is the the very specific like advertisements that were shown during that special based on the person that recorded it, because we got like the local news pop up going, we're gonna have the news right after this and all that stuff, and it's very iconic for people who have watched that specific like watched it since. But yeah, it's just this weird, bizarre thing of we did a variety show in Star Wars.
Yep.
Because that's what the original holiday special is. It's a variety show, but Star Wars. And then because what was big television at the time? Variety shows. Because we're talking about when like the Carol Burnett show was still big. Yeah.
Who the
you don't know
fuck is Carol Burnett?
Oh, that's a classic variety show.
Well, I don't know him. And
Anyways.
again.
But anyways, so shows like that were big. And so variety show being like you have your music act, your comedy act, and all that stuff. You just did different things. It's a variety show because there's a variety of things. Think of it like SNL, but not just sketches.
Okay. So boring.
Well, no, you have music as well, and you have guests, and almost like a night show, almost like a late show.
Okay, so slightly less boring.
And so, but yeah, and so that's what they did with the holiday special. That's why you had people like, you had B. Arthur, well-known comedians at the time. And so, and then of course the most iconic thing that came out of it, and the one thing that everybody kind of agrees is the best part of it, is the animated segment with Boba Fett, which was the introduction of Boba Fett. It's the first time Boba Fett ever appeared ever.
I guess I won't kidnap this child on Life Day.
And then you get long face Han Solo from it. But yeah, so, and then it's being received really well, the documentary about it. I haven't watched it yet. It's on my things to do.
Things to watch.
Yeah, things to watch. We'll watch it together probably, because I think it'll be a fun experience. And maybe we'll talk about it as like a side thing.
Yeah.
On the podcast. And so right now it's got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, and both critically and audience. So everybody's receiving it really well. So, and this was really a fan project, this documentary. This was from people that love Star Wars. And you had such names as Seth Green, Kevin Smith, Weird Al, Adam Goldberg, and Paul Scheer, and many others that are attached to this documentary that are like part of the interview like people that appear in this as interviews and segments. So people that were behind making this happen. So yeah, definitely go check it out. It is A Disturbance in the Force. So I haven't watched it yet, but more than likely I'll end up recommending it, because I think even without watching it, it's just such an interesting premise to look into, because it's something that not even George Lucas has really talked about, but he also didn't like have an actual hand in making it. He kind of just let them make it, and so the people that were involved with making it haven't talked about it.
Yeah, just a casual. Sure,
it's a thing that
guess.
Like, it was so bad that George was the reason that there's no other cop. Like it's so bad that George George, the man who has worked with like film, like history, like historians to preserve film, was like, nah, this needs to be destroyed, every copy,
burn it,
and so
leave no trace.
Like if George could have his way, it would be wiped off the internet. But you can't. The internet is just so vast, you can't wipe anything from it. Once it's on the internet, it is there.
Yep.
So there was ways to stop it back in the VHS days, but now that it's on the internet, it's forever there. Going back into video games, though.
Sorry.
So
I'm a bit tired because I had to get up at 8 in the morning because
not me.
Me and my friends are lunatics, and this was the only way we could think to schedule games.
I was about to say, for once, it wasn't me waking you up early.
No. I did this to myself.
So
my arrogance.
So for PlayStation users, you may know that there is the PlayStation Plus Classics catalog, where if you pay extra on your PS Plus subscription, you get access to this catalog of classic PlayStation games, PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2. So there is currently some rumors and speculations from some valid sources that the Phantom Menace from PlayStation 1 will be ported over as one of the classics.
All right.
So, the video game adaptation of the Phantom Menace. I think that will be interesting. I kind of like that the classic PS1 and 2 Star Wars games have made their way to modern consoles. Like, I like the Racer Revenge. That one actually got a full port. That one wasn't put into the classics catalog. Same thing with the Bounty Hunter game, although I'm not as big a fan of that. I played that for the channel. Y'all can see my frustration with that if y'all want to watch.
Take it was bad.
So the story is great.
Story good, gameplay bad.
Yes,
There's a good story here, but it's underneath a bunch of slog.
It's the shooting version of a hack and slasher.
Okay.
Where they decide difficulty is decided by just throwing mobs at you.
I see. Yeah,
and it doesn't start that way. Like, it doesn't start that way. At first, it's like, oh, you can sneak around a little bit and you can kill some enemies here and there. It's not a stealth game, but it's like you can sneak around a little bit and you can you don't have you still have people that charge at you at the first few levels, but it's not as bad as it gets when you start to hit the later levels. And in the later levels, they realize, oh, we should ramp up the difficulty because they're near the end of this game. Let's just send a horde of zombies running towards Django, and let's just make that our difficulty spike. And it's just like, that's not fun.
Yeah.
And so that was Bounty Hunter. So Racer Revenge is on there, which is a pod racing game. Pod Racer. So Bounty Hunter. Super Star Wars is on there, which was a SNES game, which is known as one of the hardest Star Wars games. The Super Star Wars trilogy, because there's also Super Empire Strikes Back and Super Return of the Jedi. For you SNES lovers, it's also on PlayStation now. There was one other game I think got a proper full port, but I can't remember what it was. But those are the three I remember getting full ports. But yeah, there's also ones that have been like put over through the classics catalog. Oh. Was it the Clone Wars they put a full... No, Jedi Starfighter. Which is exactly as it sounds like. It's a flying shooter. Not for you, but it'd be more for our friend Chase. Because he likes his... We talked about what Chase likes. He likes his
They're like,
his flight
would you
sims.
like a flight simulator? I'm like,
Chase, yeah. Also known as Forward Into the Black. But yeah, Chase likes those.
Don't get me wrong.
I mean, that is a man, though, who has also spent money on... what's the one that hasn't come out yet? The one that's like in Eternal Alpha.
It's not in Squadrons, is it?
No. He likes Squadrons. Squadrons you don't pay...
Or
Squadrons
is this the one that's available in
It's
other
not
countries,
Star Wars. It's a non-Star Wars game.
God. I know.
It's the one where people have spent.
About.
It's the one where people have spent millions on their spaceships in this game.
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember the name of the game.
He would get so mad at me for not remembering it. I'm looking at a list of space simulators.
It's not Starfield because it actually came out.
Yeah, which he does like Starfield, and I actually, if my computer was better, I would play Starfield, because I actually think it would be fun. Because what I've noticed is it's not as terrible as people have given it crap for. Like, it's just not... So the thing is, it's not a great game in a year of great games. It's a good game in a year of great games.
Yeah.
Which is...
Like, you ever feel bad about, like, certain pieces of media because they either come out when, like, the competition has set the bar so high?
Yeah.
Or there will be one good movie in a year of like bad movies otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of sucks sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, Star Citizen.
Oh yeah, that's never coming out.
At least the story mode's never coming out because that's the one.
God forbid.
Because they talk about doing a story, but yeah, he likes Star Citizen, and as a flight sim guy, I get it because it's very flight simmy. Squadrons is fun, also not for you. Uh, that one is the more classic, almost X-wing style Star Wars game. But yeah. Anyways, I'm excited. More Star Wars games being moved to modern consoles. I can't complain.
Mhm.
I mean, as far as the PC ones, I've got them all, but I wouldn't mind the console ones getting moved forward.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Next piece of news.
Oh yeah, Visions Volume 2, with the short Screecher's Reach, won an Emmy
Yes.
in the juried animation category, production design.
All right.
So,
yeah.
so yeah, while Star Wars didn't win anything at the Game Awards, oh, and to answer your question, S'mores, no, Starkiller is not canon, and wouldn't fit into canon very well. Not with the way that. Not presented in the video game and not even in the novelization, which does make him fit better in the expanded universe, but still wouldn't fit very well within canon. Not because of force ability, but because of what he would have to do and be to fit into, like, the Force Unleashed story does not fit well into canon. But yeah, so Screecher's Reach won an Emmy. So while Star Wars didn't win any awards at the Video Game Awards show, that's fine. They got an Emmy, which I think this is the second Emmy we've talked about this year that Star Wars has managed to.
So that's 2 Emmys this year.
Yeah. So, and we're still waiting on the Grammys because Jedi Survivor still has a Grammy nom.
Oh man, stiff competition for that one.
Yeah, the Grammy nom is new book announced. A Mace Windu one that's supposedly also honoring Qui-Gon's legacy.
All right, look, Windu. I've talked a lot of stuff about you. Maybe you can convince me otherwise.
But this one's called The Glass Abyss.
That is a pretty good title.
Yeah, that's a great title.
Maybe, just maybe, you might be able to convince me.
So this will be written by Stephen Barnes, who previously wrote the Cestus Deception for the expanded universe. So that's a Legends novel. Okay. So it's just been a while since. So this is kind of his return to the Star Wars fold, which I feel like 2024 is kind of leaning into, because while John Jackson Miller did premiere the new canon with A New Dawn, he also hasn't really written anything for canon since then. And so he's getting that council book that we talked about, and then Stephen Barnes is returning for this book. So I think 2024 is a year for bringing back like expanded universe authors, and at least that's out of the 2 novels that we know are coming out next year that aren't High Republic.
Let's see if you kept up your game.
I think so. I'm not worried because more than likely I haven't. Let me see what else they have written.
Once again, sorry, I'm just a little bit tired.
I was gonna say, like, usually these type of authors don't stop writing books in the meantime. They just don't write Star Wars books in the meantime. Let's see, 2000. Yeah, they wrote some stuff in the meantime. Nothing that I've read. But, so, I mean, I feel like I have confidence, because if they're bringing somebody in to write a Star Wars novel at this point, I trust it, because I have not had a Star Wars novel fail me. Oh, you're excited about the next piece of news, aren't you? Because you saw the image.
Yeah, just a little bit.
And no, at the moment, S'mores, there will not be a Battlefront 3 from what we know, because EA won't let them do it, because DICE wants to do a Battlefront 3 along with Respawn. They wanted to do a third one for a while, but then I think I remember like a year ago we heard that officially they had dropped any work on that, because I think we talked about that, because like basically they dropped, because originally people were speculating that Battlefront 3 was going to be a prequel, at least in the campaign. It was going to be a prequel to Battlefront 2, which was going to focus on I think it depends on the project. I don't think EA as a whole sucks because they still provide really good games. It's a balance. Because I mean,
I wouldn't know. I don't play games by EA, so I can't judge them.
you probably do and just don't know it.
No, I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think I've played an EA game in a very long time.
We'll have to.
MLB 2003, I think, is the last.
To be fair, all their
EA
sports
game.
titles are still good.
I didn't bother playing them for the sports. I just like throwing baseballs.
Yeah, you just want to have like the Grand Theft Auto effect of I just want to throw them at people.
Just want to chuck this.
But yeah, I think it's a balance. But yeah, so we probably won't get that for a while, but that's fine. We're getting new Star Wars games still. We're getting Outlaws still, which is exciting.
Yeah,
We're still
actually
getting
really looking forward to that.
We're still getting Jedi 3, whatever they call it.
Jedi. No hope left.
Jedi Endgame. It's the one where he finally dies.
Hey man, look, you're in for a trilogy, Cal. You gotta die now. You gotta die now or turn evil, man.
Which, I mean, he could still, because that ending for Jedi Survivor
Yeah.
implies he's gonna...
Bro is going through it.
Yes. But in the last piece of news before we get to our main discussion topic, we go back to the High Republic for a new announcement for the High Republic Adventures spin-off miniseries, because they do those, and it is a new Ty York comic.
Yeah, baby, she's back.
Called Saber for Hire.
Yeah.
Which I think that's a great name, by the way. We kind of keep hitting those really cool names.
Yeah. They're like, okay, give Ty York all the cool names.
Ty York and Mace Windu get really cool comic names.
Yeah.
Like, really cool titles for their books and comics. So, yeah.
Jedi Hunter turned hero. Sorry, Jedi turned Monster Hunter
Turned hero? So, yeah.
There's a question mark. Like, Ty's like, what are you guys going on about?
So, Kevin Scott, the man behind these comics, he talked about it on StarWars.com. And he said, I'm really excited to be teaming up with Rachel Stott once again for more Ty York adventures, because Rachel has been also really heavily involved with the Ty York stuff.
Yeah.
And Saber for Hire takes place in the High Republic's dramatic third phase, when the anarchist Nihil have annexed a vast area of Republic space. Yeah, as we talked last time, that annexation got bigger.
Yep.
Former Jedi turned Monster Hunter Ty and her apprentice Druin, because that kind of became official. In the last Ty York comic, are trapped behind enemy lines and having the time of their lives hunting beasts and making a small fortune. Well, Ty is having the time of her life. Druin is feeling sidelined and wants more from their partnership. As Ty faces a nightmare from her past, Druin steps out on his own. What could go wrong, right?
A lot.
And then Lucasfilm Publishing creative director Michael Siglane had a few more things to say. Saber for Hire is filled with adventure, horror, and heart. Ty has left the Jedi Order far behind and has fully embraced her role as a monster hunter, Saber for Hire, or has she? As we'll see, Ty is key to the larger battle between the marauding Nihil and the monstrous Nameless. She just doesn't know it yet. So that fills me with excitement, and it kind of makes sense. Like, I think we were already kind of figuring Ty's story is leading her to a confrontation with the Nameless creatures.
Yeah.
Because, like, especially...
Who else is going to be doing that kind of thing?
Yeah, because especially in the second story that we got, which wasn't about her, but it was setting up the Nameless. It was the Nameless Terror comic. And it was told by her, but we learned that, everybody around her wants her to be less apathetic to what's going on.
Start caring, they said to Ty, and Ty went, no.
And I think
I don't care.
I think we're finally going to see Ty care. I think that's what this arc is. This arc is her finally going, okay, I got to do something. I can't just watch.
Yeah.
And I think that's where Druin.
I'm not a Jedi. Don't touch my lightsaber.
I think where Druin's confrontation is that he wants her to get involved as well, because he keeps pushing and pushing and being like, "You're a Jedi. I'm your apprentice. Let's go." And she's like, "No,
I'm not a Jedi.
No to all
We don't
that.
need to get involved.
I'm not a Jedi. You're not my apprentice. Stop
This
it."
is not our problem.
And I think that's where that confrontation is going to go from. And it sounds like with Druin separating from Ty, he's probably going to get involved with trying to actually actively
Brooke's
stop.
gonna get in over his head.
He's probably going to try to stop the Nihil himself because once again they are in the
Yeah.
occlusion zone. So
Welcome to Nihil space, baby. Not good to be here.
all right, well let's get into our main topic.
Yep.
So spoiler warning for the Star Wars Yoda comic from this year and the 10 issues that are within it
Mhm.
because we are going to talk about it.
Yeah.
So it does the thing that Yoda comics have done so far, which is kind of have a bookend sort of thing where they all take place just before hanging out with Luke in Empire.
Yeah.
Like before Luke shows up, it's like Yoda contemplating his life, which is like
Yeah.
he keeps doing that. He keeps going, this is episode 5. I need to think on things. Was I a good person?
Yeah.
And he does that because he does that in another comic we've talked about, and then he does it in like some short stories we've talked about,
Oh,
and it's always Empire set.
I guess. Yeah, man.
But this one does that too, and so this one though goes the furthest back out of those Yoda contemplating his life, and this one goes back to the High Republic era for the first 2 issues. And so the way they organize them is every 2 issues is a story, is a story arc.
Yep.
So the first 2 is a High Republic story where Yoda goes to this planet that's going through a kind of civil war type tribal feuding
thing.
And Yoda basically is like, hey, y'all shouldn't be fighting. Y'all should be trying to find peace.
Yeah. Could you guys not? And they don't.
Yeah, so like they don't for a minute. They stop fighting.
Yeah.
And Yoda's like, okay, I've taught you everything you need. Out. And then he comes back only to find out that, yeah, things are...
Because basically...
Oh, yeah, because he stayed after the Jedi... And this is where I think Yoda, once again proving the High Republic era was probably the best era for all Jedi. Yoda is the most selfless at this time.
Yeah.
Which means he stuck around to
make sure things were okay
for the first, in the first issue he sticks around for a bit, which the Jedi Council was like, hey, you should come back. What are you doing? What are you doing going out there?
I will stay here as long as it takes.
Which it takes a minute. He's there for like at least 15 years or so, give or take, because it shows like time passes and we see like the main kid that he meets when he gets there is an adult. Yeah, Bree's an adult by the time he leaves.
Yeah, and he's like...
Oh, and I'm going to go back and answer S'more's question there. I do not believe that Disney has ruined Star Wars. I don't think they've... I think it's... I don't know if I would say...
A little bit of column
yeah,
B.
I wouldn't say ruined, and I wouldn't say made better. I'd say they have given us... I'd say we got our best era of Star Wars in a minute. I will say that because we are consistently, as Star Wars fans, being fed really good material. I mean, the High Republic alone is some great material, and I would highly suggest it. I mean, I wouldn't say ruined. I'd say there's some bad stuff that not everybody's a fan of, and it's fine if you have valid criticisms of stuff. But to say that it's ruined is a bit of overplay, in my opinion.
I wouldn't say that it's like ruined or made better, but it is different.
Yeah, it's different Star Wars, and there's nothing wrong with different Star Wars.
There are some things that I've had questions about, like going through and watching like the newer shows and stuff, where I have to remind myself of like, that's a solution that you could use. I didn't think about it. I thought they'd take it this way, but they didn't. Which is fine.
I think that's the other thing is nowadays, and it's something that I talked about recently when I was on the Podwans doing a live react for the game awards, and it's video games community also has that same thing of like, if it doesn't meet our expectations, it's bad, and I think we need to stop viewing that as how.
Generally speaking, I try to take things as they are.
And you do. And yeah. I think that is a problem, though, in the Star Wars community especially, But it's definitely also a video game community problem because that's how like we talked about earlier with Starfield. Everybody said Starfield sucks, and it's like that's because it just didn't meet your expectations. It met what they promised us. It just wasn't what you expected because like they told us what it was, and then you said, "Oh, it's gonna be even this and this," and it's like it's fine to expect things, but to then judge something off of what you're expecting is not fair to the product. Especially art. Like, you can't judge art off of what you want it to be. You have to judge it off what it is. And I think if you're judging something off what it is, and you're being fair about it, I would say Disney has not ruined Star Wars. I would say there are some things that aren't nothing's perfect. Art is never perfect. It's rarely perfect. It could come close. And I'd say Disney era Star Wars has come close in multiple moments. But I'd say even the classic films aren't perfect.
Yeah. Everything has its flaws, and I think sometimes things are made better for them, and sometimes they're not. But regardless, they're what we have.
And on top of that, you can make the same arguments for like Legends era, like the expanded universe. There's some really bad things.
Some things are bad. Some things are goofy. Some things are good.
Yeah. So I think no matter what era you look at for a fandom, you can always find the bad if you try to look for it. If you're looking for it, you're going to find it. And that's just
how things are.
Yeah. So anyways, I felt like I saw that, so I figured I'd go back because that was the one thing we didn't answer yet.
Yeah.
So back to Yoda, though.
Meanwhile, Yoda's like, all right, Bree, look, don't do the murder.
Yeah, because they find out that the tribes... They eventually find out that the other tribe had been kidnapping people of their... No. They found out they weren't. That was the thing, because they thought they were, but they weren't.
They were not kidnapping people.
Yeah.
Their children were just sick.
Yeah, that's right.
From malnutrition.
Yeah. And so...
And that's why they were raiding other people.
Yeah.
The raiding stopped after Bree took Yoda's lightsaber and killed their leader, who was like, let's go raid.
Which is why Yoda finally left, because he was like, I can't teach you if you're...
Can't teach you if you're just going to ice him. Smash cut to about 10 years later when Bree's nephew is being a little shit. And he's like, Uncle Bree is the guy who killed the Krukalon Raider leader.
Meanwhile, Bree's
we should go murder them again so they know not to mess with us.
Meanwhile, Bree's like, I am not proud of that moment. No.
It's like, nope.
He's like, that's the one bad time I did something.
Yeah. It's like, leave it. We don't need to go and do that. Meanwhile, and his nephew's like, don't worry. I've got this.
Yeah, so...
And goes and kidnaps their kid.
That's right. I remember Kidnap was somehow involved, yeah.
And he brings them back.
But yeah, Yoda eventually gets involved, but it turns out they mostly have learned their lessons since then, so they... Bree helped solve the problem mostly without Yoda, and Yoda's like, I'm proud of you.
Yoda's just there in case something goes wrong.
Yeah, he's mostly like, I'm proud of you. Good job. I'm out. Yeah. And so that's the first main storyline. I'm gonna try to condense these
because we
went a little longer on our rambles.
Despite showing up early.
Yeah. I think we just love nerd things, and so
we do, and it distracts us sometimes. But hey, it's all in good fun.
Yeah, and so
second story arc's
the Dooku one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's...
And I think, like, what this entire series is just Yoda kind of thinking, like,
What could he have done differently for the most part? Or
it is, why did I not see all the bullshit sooner?
Yeah.
I was blindsided by my hope that people would do the right thing. And I get it, Yoda, man. It sucks. Yeah, when you're like, I want them to do their best and like not be a dickhead, but because of how people are, sometimes these things happen.
And so this one is about like not really seeing the darkness within Dooku before, and so we follow these younglings that Yoda's training.
Yeah.
Because Yoda teaches the younglings, and we basically follow along as
there's a Wookiee
Yeah, I'm pulling up the.
who is having a vision that one of the other Kresh members, Trandoshan, will one day attack them.
Yeah, which this is all. So this is all connected to also the Master and Apprentice stuff and the um, Dooku Jedi Lost stuff,
Yeah.
which Kevin Scott wrote Dooku Jedi Lost, so that's why that connection's there. And so all of this is all connected, and that and like the whole visions are dark, are connected to the dark side, especially if you try to force like your way to viewing them and understanding them. But if you kind of just let the Force guide you, then you will be fine. And unfortunately, Dooku gives the advice of yes, trust in the Force visions explicitly, and that's because it's the first story arc is 3 issues. But yeah, like this arc. Oh no, it is every 3 issues because it's 3 arcs and then the finale. That's right. So issue 4 starts. This
Dooku
one.
is basically like.
Well, Dooku has a reason for why, like beyond just evil planning shit. This is also like
At the time of Sifo Dyas, kind of
when Sifo Dyas is kind of
a little crazy,
and that's because everybody believes he's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's because Sifo Dyas believes in his Force visions, and Dooku believes him. It's just he can't explicitly say that. And this is also after Dooku's left the. So this is after the events of the flashback parts of Dooku Jedi Lost, which is the majority of it, which is the after he's left the Jedi Order. So this is now when he's officially Count Dooku. But he's still invited every now and then. He's still invited now and then to like help train and
teach them.
He's a guest presentator essentially.
Yeah, and so basically.
So the reason he's there is to show off his lightsaber skills.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And the Wookiee comes up to him and he's like, Master Dooku, I'm having some weird nightmares. And what should I do about it?
And to be fair, this is after he's talked to Yoda about it as well.
Yeah.
No, not yet. Not yet. Sorry.
He will talk with Yoda about it later.
Sorry. So he's talked to Dooku about it, and Dooku was like, keep the secret, keep it safe.
Keep it to yourself, and get ready for when the time comes.
Yeah. And so the reason for this is once again because Sifo Dyas, and nobody believes Sifo Dyas, and I don't think he's dead yet, but...
No, but he will be soon.
Yeah, Dooku's gonna kill him soon.
Gonna murder this fool right in the library.
Gonna kill my own best friend.
Yeah. Sucks when it happens, man.
And so... Dooku...
You're not gonna shoot me, are you?
No.
Ah, thank God.
But yeah, so... Yeah, and so...
But, like...
present day Yoda is like, how did I not see this coming?
Yeah.
And so eventually we kind of...
Should we give the context behind like the Trandoshan and the Wookiee thing, or do people just know?
So context between Trandoshan and Wookiee thing is that the Trandoshan race is traditionally known for being hunters and killers and traditionally go after Wookiees and will kidnap Wookiees and in fact do this like hunting event with Wookiees.
Yeah.
As a way of like a rite of passage for adult Trandoshans.
But this Trandoshan was a baby.
Yeah, this Trandoshan would not be part of that tradition and would not have been raised that way because they were raised as a Jedi.
Yep.
And so this is all just part of the... And also another tie-in to Dooku stuff is there's also that Dooku Age of Republic comic. We haven't read that together. But let's just say Dooku kills one of these Padawans when they're older.
Oh, man.
It's the tiger.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Not Tiger Man.
Yeah, because I saw that.
Why?
Because the Age of Republic comic came out first, and I remember reading it, and it's basically like Dooku, this tiger character remembers Dooku and is like, I remember you came to the Jedi temple one day and taught us lightsaber forms.
Oh, yeah? Would you like another demonstration?
And unfortunately, they are trying to stop something that Dooku's trying to do in order to set up the Separatists and all that stuff. And so Dooku has to ice them.
Oh, man. Man, Dooku's like just 0 for 3 on that, huh?
And in the case of... So then when I read this comic, I was like, oh, this is the day they were talking about of when Dooku came to teach. And I was like, oh, I know what happens to you in the future.
You get wrecked.
But they're not the main character.
No.
It's really the Wookiee and the Trandoshan. They're kind of there as the third wheel, and they're kind of there to try to be the moral center of the
Like
group.
voice of reason.
Yeah, they're like, hey, let's not fight each other.
Oh, we don't need to do this.
And the
It's
reason
not cool.
So the reason the vision happens,
Yeah.
is ironically once again because Star Wars is much like Greek mythology when it comes to visions. Don't explicitly try to avoid them; you will force them to happen.
Yep.
Because the Wookiee basically cuts off all contact with the friend group and is like, specifically the Trandoshan, but the friend group as a whole is pretty much cut off. And this is explicitly so that way, like, they can try to avoid anything happening between them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they are then sent on a mission to Kashyyyk, where a bunch of Wookiees have died.
That's the flashback.
Oh wait, sorry.
That's the flashback.
Oh yeah, that's Yoda. Sorry. They are sent on a mission though.
They are sent on a mission to like see how they kind of like handle things while they're on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Yoda's there on the planet just to make sure things don't
Oh
get too out
yeah,
of
they're
hand.
basically sent on a mission on their own. But before that though, he does have another vision of the fight,
Yeah.
and
like,
this
"Hey,
time
man."
he does go to Yoda, and Yoda's like, "You just gotta like," it's basically the Anakin thing of like,
Look, man,
you can't you gotta be careful with those.
don't worry about it.
You just gotta not focus and try to force them. Meanwhile, Dooku's like, absolutely keep an eye out on this Trandoshan and
Do not trust that motherfucker.
do not hesitate to kill them if you have to.
Yeah.
We are being obviously over hyperbolic there, but like,
Yeah. But yeah, he's like throughout the little the next couple of pages.
he's cutting off his friend group and
Oh no, I was like, he's always looking at the Trandoshan all the time.
oh yeah, he's always like,
He's like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
which in a way is slowing his progress down as a
Yeah.
Jedi because he's not focused on what he needs to be in the moment. Which is why Jedi say to be wary of like Force visions, because then you stop worrying about the moment, you start to worry about.
You know what would be great if someone just actually walked up to the person they had a Force vision about and be like, "Hey, man, in like 3 years,
The thing is, they don't know.
I don't have the context for this.
To be fair,
but you're gonna fuck me up."
to be fair, you don't have context of when either.
Yeah.
Like Force visions
They
are
don't
so
give you-
vague.
Hey, man, you're not gonna stab me in like, I don't know, 2 months to 10 years, right?
To be fair, Anakin does tell Padme about his vision
It's like, by the way, you're gonna die.
in childbirth,
Well, he was right.
and Padme's like, "Well, not much we can do
Shit.
about that."
She goes, fuck, I guess. I don't know.
So to be fair, Anakin does tell her. But
One of the more.
but it doesn't it doesn't help her,
Yeah.
and it doesn't help him.
But still, like, when it comes to things that are like, clearly this one is pretty clear for some reason.
I think the other problem is just they just need to
Talk, man.
be friends. Which, to be fair, the Trandoshan does try to solve that problem when they are on that mission by themselves
Yeah.
without Yoda. Because Yoda's like, all right, mission by yourselves. Go be
Good luck.
adults.
Don't
Ow.
fuck it up.
And so the Trandoshan tries to repair things because they notice the friendship's been lacking for the past couple years.
All right, man. Look, what's been going on?
And
I'm gonna kill you.
yeah, and
What?
so in a twist of fate, he starts the fight. And of course, our tiger friend is like, hey,
Don't do that. Ah, my arm.
fighting each other is not great. Sorry, I had to.
I'll let it slide. It's the holidays.
And so, oh, speaking of, I'll have to show them the shirt you got me.
It's fine.
But yeah, so they fight. The vision becomes true.
Yeah.
Only because, once again, they force the vision to become true.
Yep.
Because that's how visions work in Star Wars and in Greek mythology.
Mm-hmm.
And Star Wars is, if anything, a mythology. So
Yeah.
So they start fighting. Our tiger friend gets burnt in the attempt to stop his friends from fighting. And Yoda finally has to come in and stop this shit.
Enough.
Yeah, essentially. And so Wookiee gets reprimanded, and Dooku gets a light talk, like
Hey,
he gets a light talking to of like, did you
so what happened?
say anything weird?
You talked to him, right? He's like, yeah, but I didn't think he'd go and do anything like this.
Yeah, I didn't think he'd do anything rash. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
I totally told him to do that.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's arc 2.
Yeah.
And once again, Yoda's like, how did I not see the evil?
Damn it.
And the last one,
Everybody betray me, said Yoda.
and the last arc is about Yoda and Anakin going on a mission
Yeah.
together to go stop Grievous.
Yep.
Because
First things first, Yoda fights Grievous.
yeah, because
And he proves to Grievous that he kind of sucks.
proves why Yoda is Yoda.
Yeah.
And so, essentially, the arc is Yoda and Anakin go on a mission together to stop this Jedi droid, like Jedi killer droid,
Yeah.
that's being developed. And it's apparently
Project
it's a-
Titan.
Yeah, Project Titan.
They're
because
making mega droids.
they're making mega droids, which
And
are
at first I was like, well, that's kind of dumb. You made them bigger. That's not going to help anything. And I was like, well, no. Actually, that's going to make them really hard to throw around. And then they were like, just to make extra sure that it's a problem for Jedi, let's coat the thing in Durasteel.
yeah, which is lightsaber resistant, not
Yeah.
proof, but
But
resistant.
it's a problem.
Yeah. And so Yoda and Anakin have to track down 1 where this is, and then 2 have to destroy the factory. And along the way, we get Yoda and Anakin hijinks of like them like not understanding each other in like a buddy cop situation of like Yoda's more by the rules, Anakin's his freestyle road cop.
Yep.
And cowboy ways essentially. If we're gonna do the buddy cop thing, it's the law by the book and then the cowboy.
Yeah.
So Anakin's the cowboy for once.
It's like, we got more guys than they do. Let's just go fuck them up.
I think my favorite moment though, and I remember talking because this was when I was more active at doing TikToks every time a comic book came out, and I remember talking about this series as it was coming out, and I remember liking the moment when Anakin does his Yoda impression. And Yoda was like, "Oh, it's actually really good."
Oh, yeah.
I really liked that.
It's very much like, I'm going to go make fun of Grandpa.
Yeah.
Grandpa's like, oh, just lucky I thought we would get.
Yeah. And so Grandpa's just like, it could be better. It's not bad. You can do better though.
Yep.
And apparently by the end of the comic he does, like he improves it. He's like, "Yeah, you got it." But yeah, so they destroy the factory, but then it turns out one of the mega droids escapes.
Yeah, the like prototype.
And so they end up having to stop the prototype.
Mission objective updated.
Yeah.
Destroy the mega droid.
Which the way they do it is insane.
Yeah.
So Yoda does the thing, the trope of, I'm going to go inside it to destroy it.
Yep.
And so he goes inside of it, does find where the wires and stuff he needs to find. Problem is, by
This
the time...
looks important.
Yeah. Problem is, by the time he does cut the power, he's in space.
Oh, I guess I'm gonna die.
So, thankfully, Anakin comes by with his ship to pick him up. He's like, "Here, I can knock you into my ship using the Force."
The plan. Get Grandpa to do it.
Really sick trick.
Yeah. And it works. And it's great.
Yeah.
Yoda's like, Obi-Wan, yeah? Would you fucking quit calling me?
Yeah. And so then we get to the last issue, which is really just more reflection, and it's Yoda looking on, thinking on all of these things, and having visions of what's to come, and basically it's revealed that he was talking to Obi-Wan this whole time, who is, and like they're basically preparing for Luke to show up.
It's like, I don't need to go in that cave, said Yoda.
Oh yeah, and he also goes into the dark cave on Dagobah, and he's like, "I don't like this."
Like, don't worry about it.
And so
Meanwhile, when all the dead people come, and he's like, "Oh fuck."
So this is
that guilt trip be hitting hard.
yeah,
huh?
and this is kind of when all of that stuff that we've now learned about Yoda comes into play, and he has to face his fears of failure Really, is really what it comes down to, and his fear.
Not facing his fear of it, but coming to terms with it.
Well, I think he fears continuing to fail, and he also, on top of that, because it shows you your greatest fear, and also on top of that, he is also having to come to terms with he's not going to recognize every problem before it happens, which that's made clear when he fights the spirit of Dooku essentially and Palpatine within this cave. But thankfully, Bree is there to kind of be the voice of good and hope.
Yeah. Look, man, I'm not a murderer no more. Well, I was, but I still am, but it's not gonna happen.
But also, like the messages from Bree's side of it is that
you're
for
still
every
a
person, yeah, for every person that you failed to teach,
you helped so many,
yeah. And so it ends on a hopeful note that Luke is going to be the next Bree, essentially, of a voice, somebody that Yoda does manage to reach. And I'd argue he does.
Yeah.
And so, even if Luke does leave him in Empire to go save his friends,
and then homeschools
for a year,
or two.
Well, a year.
Yeah.
So that's everything in Yoda.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts?
I enjoyed it. I'll give it a 7.5 out of 8.
I'd probably put it there. Oh, excuse me. We're both done with the show for.
Yep.
Which means we should probably go ahead and wrap things up.
Yeah.
Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Check us out on Escape Reality Films at YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, and Kick. And then you can also find us on. Oh, my brain just disconnected for a second. Oh, Escape Reality 94 on Twitter or X. I still call it Twitter because you put in Twitter to get to it. It's twitter.com. It's not x.com. So it's Twitter. And then you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads at caleb.lockwood. Also, check out our Patreon, where you can watch our content before it's made publicly available on YouTube, which is where you can watch the most recent episode of Acquisitions Incorporated, our D&D campaign, which is still on there. And it's $5 to watch stuff before it's uploaded.
Yep.
Or made public. And we got stuff that's going all the way till February currently. When it comes to how far in the future y'all can watch stuff. So it's definitely worth the $5, I think. Yep.
Shout out to Jennifer Brantley.
Yep,
thank you for supporting us.
And that is patreon.com/Escape Reality Films. You can also check us out on Discord, which is linked somewhere depending where you're watching. YouTube, it's down below. Twitch, it's one of the little buttons. Same thing with Kick, I think. And there you can come hang out with us and be a part of our community.
Yeah.
And you can listen to, actually, if you want to be even ahead of the Patreon members, you can listen to our D&D games when we play them.
All that we ask is that you mute your mic.
Yeah. Just be polite for the players and me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's everything on my end.
All right, I guess I got to shill now, don't I?
Yeah, you got to do some shilling.
So, every Sunday from 5 to 7 Central Standard Time, you can catch me and some friends of ours over on YouTube at the Steam Dungeon playing a campaign called Trials of Naboo. It's a D&D 5e game, and oh man, this assassination mission's going great! So far, it's me and Kiari, and the lady who hired us to help her kidnap her sister, same person I have to go kill. We're on our way downtown to their little ship. Unfortunately, it would appear that Nick has angered everybody else. Alongside Picari. Picari was there to get some artifacts. She's not getting them now because they have to run away. Because they may have angered a deity of some sort. It's unclear. Mistakes were made, but now we're going to live with the consequences. I may have fucked up, but I didn't fuck up this bad.
It's not my fault.
Yeah, this one really isn't.
All right.
That's everything.
Well then,
You have a good one.
yeah. Once again, thank you all for watching. Join us next week as we will be talking about the High Republic, 2022 Volume 2.
All right.
I have spoken.
Y'all be safe.